Hello, Ray Phoenix here. Welcome to Let's Play Vectorman Part 3. We're at yet another boss, where this time around we're in some sort of like 3D environment where we're spinning around like a spinning top. We have to just constantly nail the boss. This level could take such a long time. I mean, you have a very limited time limit of less than a minute. This level could either take very long, or it could be over in only a few seconds. If you're lucky, you can get this level done in only a few seconds. Kind of like most other levels in this game that deviate from the usual formula. Just spam like there's no tomorrow. Just spam and shoot that enemy thing, whatever that is. And you can only aim in one direction at a time. You kind of like point, kind of like in Berserk or something like that. And there, the level is over, and I already got back that life I lost right there. It's over in only a few seconds, just like all these other levels. So now we're going to the Nightscape, day 12. So these are days, and apparently this game is set over the course of several days. It said day 12, day this, it's that, day something. So I wonder how much time it's really taking Vectorman to get to run through all these levels. And I wonder what the Warhead, or whatever his name, the main villain in this game is, what he could be doing during that time. Maybe subjugate all the world by now. You think Vectorman would have fallen to his subjugation by then, but maybe not. He's Vectorman, you know, maybe he's built differently or something like that. I don't know. Just like a lot of other game characters, their backstories are never really well known. What is Vectorman's backstory anyways? Who built Vectorman anyways? And how did he come to be? I don't know, it's probably built by some sort of like... It's probably built by some sort of like corporation maybe for like... I mentioned he was delivering toxic sludge to his son. Maybe he's like some sort of civil engineer robot or something like that was built by some agency to replace jobs. These robots are always taking away humans' jobs. This has been happening ever since, you know, computers were invented. Everything used to be done by hand, and now we invent computers to make our lives a lot more difficult. That's the case with the animation industry. Animation used to be done traditionally, but now computers take over everything, and now it's becoming a lot harder to do stuff now because it's all done on a computer now. I find drawing on a computer is a lot more challenging and a lot more difficult than drawing in traditionally using actual physical paper and pencil. I haven't had access to paper and pencil for many months now, so I've just been drawing everything on the computer using Paint 3D using a mouse, which I think my mouse is working fine. It's a gaming mouse. It works pretty good for drawing stuff on Paint 3D, which Paint 3D is actually kind of underrated. My biggest fan, Carlos Supotown, introduced me to it. It actually works pretty well, actually. With Paint 3D, it's actually a pretty, you know, like a pretty decent way to draw stuff. I mean, sure, it does have limitations, but what do you expect for free software? And that level's over. That level's even very long at all, actually. I barely blinked and that level's over. It seems like the levels are just getting shorter and shorter as you progress. Sure, they're challenging, alright. I remember this level is like, you know, it's nighttime, it's like acrobats flying around. Well, they're not really acrobats, but it seems like something a place that acrobats would go to. They're going to the Dark Ruins. It looks like somewhere in ancient Greece or somewhere like that. It almost looks like something that could have been a museum, maybe like some sort of art museum. The kind of museums where you'd find modern art masterpieces. I don't know what modern art masterpieces are like in the year 2049. And Vectorman's constantly sliding on ropes and things like that, and constantly trying to dodge these robots we've been seeing since the beginning of the game. They still take tons of hits to kill. Almost everything in this game takes tons of hits to kill. Then again, maybe they're trying to be like Mega Man or something like that. It's Mega Man. Almost every enemy in Mega Man games always take several hits to kill. That's probably because they're robots that are probably heavily shielded from attacks. Vectorman has some pretty decent shielding overall. He can only take 4 hits and he's dead. Yeah, 4 hits. It's like Sonic where he just collects a lot of rings, and then when he gets hit, they're everywhere and you can collect them again. Or like Mario where he collects mushrooms. Again, Mario wasn't much different. Anyways, Mario's like one of the most iconic game characters ever. Pac-Man was also pretty iconic too, and he always died in 1 hit. He just gets touched once by a ghost and he's dead, and he's so iconic. And then I remember Sega's original mascot was kind of weak too, Alex Kidd. Alex Kidd was Sega's mascot before Sonic, and he was pretty weak too. He just gets hit once and he dies. Same with Bugsy Bobcat. Bugsy Bobcat was kind of like a mascot-like character, was sort of an attempt at being a mascot-like character, and he only died in 1 hit too, so... And so I guess they were trying to be like, you know, like a lot of characters get killed in only a few hits and stuff like that. Those end up being the more iconic characters, like some characters that take several hits to kill. And so we're trying to climb up this thing, this scaffolding. I think it's supposed to be like scaffolding. I mean, this place is being renovated. And they seem to have TVs everywhere. I wonder if those TVs are responsible for how these robots, you know, got subjugated or something like that. Maybe TV made a comeback in the 2040s. I know in Star Trek Next Generation they use analog signals. because they're static on the screen all the time. I just picked up some invincibility. Now, the stars I just picked up are invincibility, just like the stars in Mario, where you could just run through all your enemies and have them murdered in a matter of seconds. And it lasts a pretty long time, too. Vectorman really is a powerful force to be reckoned with. This is more reason why I say he's an underrated game character. He's also a good example of what a game character should be. People play video games so they can do things they can't do in real life. They can be people that, they can't easily be in real life. And Vectorman's definitely a good example of this. No one in real life is like Vectorman. That's exactly why people play games, because they want to be like Vectorman. They want to be able to do stuff like this. That's why Lester the Unlikely failed, because that game was supposed to be like, trying to be a real person. That's supposed to be like a real person trying to make an actual game, or make a game out of what a real person is actually like, which doesn't really work well for a game. He's so wimpy, that Lester the Unlikely. He's so wimpy, he runs away from everything. I think that game was more of a joke than anything else. Someone just sick, cruel joke that somehow accidentally got made into a real game. I wonder if that's why there's so many bad games. Maybe people joked about stuff and then somehow they actually got made into real games. I wouldn't be surprised if that's why there's so many bad games that exist. But that's what keeps people like the ABGN, with a job. So now we're going to the underground vault now. Well, this is probably where all sorts of records and documents are being stored down here right now. There's probably a lot of lost media down here too. I wonder if this Warhead guy is the reason why there's so much lost media. Maybe he takes it and he hides it for himself. Or buries it down in here. And sometimes lost media can even be related to the Mandela effect as well too. Because one of the lost media things I recently researched was that thing where some guy in 2005 claims he went to an MLB game and he saw SpongeBob make a speech before the game, yet there's no proof anywhere this SpongeBob MLB speech ever happened, or that it ever occurred, or that it ever existed, or anything like that. So there's no proof actually anywhere that this thing ever existed. And it might be forever lost because no one seems to know anything about it. And I'm trying to bring back lost media stuff too. I try to research stuff. I currently research this old show I watched as a kid on some local channel called the Bod Squad. It's like a series of PSAs. I think I explained it in another video already, but I'm trying to find this Bod Squad show because there's absolutely nothing about it anywhere on the internet. I don't want it to be lost media. I want to preserve it as best as I can. I was gonna make a video about that so I can, let the world know what it is. And I also think there might be some meme-worthy content. You know how much I love memes. I'll say I think it could be a meme. So yes, I think there could be some memes out of it, and who knows, maybe if the full stuff ever shows up, ever comes back, I think it would be, like an awesome case of, where we won another battle in the world of lost media. Apparently some games can be considered lost media. I wouldn't be surprised if in those games I have in those discs, those RAIDs, I just labeled them as RAID 1, RAID 2, RAID 3, I put them on archive.org. They have a lot of, demos for old PC games. The demo for Brainwave, the Battle for the Mind on there. And I tried looking for the full game. The full game is absolutely nowhere to be found on the internet. Heck, even the demo can't be found on the internet anymore either. So what I have might be the only way to possibly play Brainwave now. It only works on versions of Windows from Windows XP or older, which technically was a newer version of Windows I got it running on. I got it running on Windows Server 2003 once. But I highly doubt anyone seriously uses that for playing games. I actually tried using it for gaming once, and in one of my most famous YouTube videos was a failed attempt where I tried getting Windows Server 2003 to run LEGO Star Wars 2. But that didn't go so well. I don't think it was because of my computer. It's probably because of my virtual machine or something like that. Probably because using a virtual machine or something like that. But yeah, that still was a really popular video. These bosses are obnoxious as hell. They're 3D. They look like something that could be out of early PS1 games. I remember playing some very early PS1 games that had bosses that kind of looked like these robots we're going against right now. They also look like McDonald's Happy Meal toys a little bit. I don't know, maybe someone found it in Happy Meal and thought this would make an awesome video game boss. Have you ever found a video game boss in a Happy Meal or something like that? Or just run, their patterns are very straightforward if you know how to defeat them. Just run to one side and just shoot at them, just open fire on them, and they'll take damage, and then this guy takes billions of hits to kill. He's not he takes I shot him a bunch of times. Does this guy ever die? And you don't even know if the shots always register or not. For all you know, you could just simply be firing blanks at him, which is kind of what's going on right now. The good thing is, Vectorman does run really fast. Sega has a thing for making game characters that run fast, a la Sonic the Hedgehog. And Vectorman is, you're sort of running from one end of the screen to the other. There's a lot of, like, backtracking, like, going back and forth. And this game does have, like, most of the levels of this game have kind of like a linear structure where you just go from point A to point B. I think this game also could have been interesting if they made it, like, where you have to collect a lot of stuff, kind of like the Jungle Book game for the Sega Genesis, where you have to collect a lot of stuff throughout a level. You travel through a 2D level, collect a lot of stuff, and find an exit point, but yeah, that may have been a bit too, ambitious and too chaotic. So I actually kind of like what they did with this game. This is a really good game overall, as I keep saying. I think this game is a masterpiece and a good example of what to do in a game to make a good, challenging video game. This is definitely a good example of that. This boss is actually kind of hard if you know how to fight him. But I don't know how to fight him. You just run from one side of this to the screen, shoot him a bunch of times like what I'm doing here, then you jump, and then just as you start to descend, then you jump again, and then you can jump over the thing. It's a little tricky. There's a lot of skill involved in this. But once you know his attack pattern, know his plan, it's actually quite easy to defeat, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of machine gunning down, like a machine gun. Well, it is like a machine gun, that weapon. I don't even know what it shoots. There's like photons, almost like the same things that we've been collecting throughout this game, the photons. Apparently there's like a certain amount of them per every level. Same with TVs at the end. When you complete a level, it says like, oh, TV's broken this out of this, photons collected this number out of this number. I wonder if there's like some sort of special reward for collecting all of them. But I would never know, because there's just too much stuff to collect in this game, and it would just take way too long. Is it really worth it if there's no real reward? I don't know, maybe you get like so many lives. But again, this game is already pretty generous with lives and power-ups and things like that as is, so I don't know, could it possibly be? Is there like a special ending maybe? Like a special bonus thing maybe in this game? I don't know. And so we defeated this boss. He wasn't that hard. He was actually the easiest of the 3 bosses we just took on. And we only have 57 seconds left. We still get scored for that. And so, yeah, next for taking on what I think might be the final level of the game. This is Ray Phoenix signing out.